Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Magic Square MS-06 Tornado. He's an MP version of Vortex. You can see him there in front of the box. Go ahead and put him off the side real quick and take a look at that box. And yet it is a, well, fairly large Magic Square box. You can see, quite large actually. Quite large. You can see nice bit of artwork there at Magic Square. You know, ages 16 plus. Right there, MS-06 Magic Square and all that stuff. Their little logo. And of course on top here you have a Magic Square right there. On the side here you have Magic Square plus an outline of the helicopter mode, and also my box is splitting apart. On this side you just have Magic Square and, you know, that little bit right there on the bottom you have a warning, you know, for only for 16 and up. All that stuff, the extraterrestrial mechanical life form, and on the back you have the little silhouette of the helicopter mode plus the tech specs right there and a barcode, and, you know, not for ages 3 and under and made in China and all that stuff. In the box, of course, you have the instructions, which are kind of, there's a lot in the instructions. There's kind of, once again, Magic Square just doing the thing of like, let's just skip a whole bunch of steps and assume you'll figure it out. And then also, of course, the bio card. You know, you got the nice little card right there. You know, nice bit of artwork again on the back. Of course, you have the tech specs and the outline of the helicopter, and there you go. A couple of accessories, and we'll get to that over the course of this review. Yeah. Tornado, Vortex, whatever you want to call him. He is, well, a helicopter. It is mostly gray. You got some blue striping as well, and of course black windows, and yep, very high gloss. You can see that right there. Not bad looking, kind of cartoony. It's just basically generic helicopter. It doesn't really match any real, as far as I can tell, it doesn't match any real world helicopters. Particularly doesn't match the helicopter that Vortex is supposed to be, but whatever. Cartoon accuracy, reign supreme, I guess, or something close to it, because even the cartoon helicopter looks goofy. Yeah, you got that, you know, rosy gray, the blue stripe down the middle, the helicopter blades in black, you know, the little landing gear, all that stuff. Bottom side is actually fairly clean, all things considered. Yeah, there you go. You got the little thrusters or jet boot, whatever you want to call those, right there. Does actually roll pretty decently, even on this surface. And there you go. Of course, the rotors can spin, but of course the problem is, the problem with this rotor is just, yeah, it does that. Gets out of kilter and just bleh, and it stops. And this one, that one spins all right. I mean, not amazing, but it actually spins, versus this one goes, does that. So, yay. A couple accessories. Well, the thing is, one of them's actually in, part of one of them in there. Well, the good chunk of the robot mode gun is in there, and of course, yeah, the same thing as the Legends version, which is it splits in half, and here's the gun barrel, and that goes in the front. Yeah, and the rest of it is inside of there. It stores away. It doesn't tab in, unfortunately. You can hear it rattling around. It doesn't tab in this time. That's the place to store it, I guess. I left it in there. Yeah, split the gun just splits apart really easily, just like the Legends version. Yeah, the course to plug it in, you have to split the front, which for me always means spudger. Yeah, split the front apart, and then on this side, the right side of the helicopter, there's a little slot for this tab, and you just well, put the gun and then tab it in right there, and then close it all back up, and he's got his gun in the front. So hooray for that! And of course, there's these guns right here, the little side guns, which, yep, those can plug in each tab. Make sure you use the right tab. There's a bigger tab, a slot, and a smaller slot. Make sure to plug this in the smaller slot on this side. That, and then on this side there's only one slot, so you know it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, so he's got his guns right there. He's got little rear mounted guns. The other things, yeah, well, other little complaints I would have for sure are definitely nothing really locks. This, like, a lot of the tail stuff really locks in, so you got these just kind of flap around. There's no like locking, not even a soft locking point or anything. Again, that gun rattles around like that in there. This rotor, unfortunately, just, yeah, doesn't work very well. There's one other accessory. I'll show that off a little bit, but yeah. Actually, no, I'll just show it off right now because I'm not going to use showing off again for the rest of the review. But yeah, it comes with the torso piece for Bruticus. Yeah, it comes with basically the torso piece. And I will say, I'm not going to show it here until the actual combined mode video. But these are definitely a bit tight. These pegs and stuff are a bit tight, and Night Tracer really doesn't like to take in or tab in super easily, so it takes a lot of force. You might want to consider shaving like down these pegs and stuff. I believe it's chiefly these pegs up here, so I might want to shave those down, because otherwise the problem is it won't line up properly, and this won't be able to come down properly, which is a little bit of an annoyance. One other thing, of course, you can see, yeah, the eyes there are translucent red, not painted red. Is there lights in there? No, there are no lights inside of there. Apparently they left it open intentionally though, so you can add your own. It's like, oh, cool, thanks. Worst of both worlds, I guess. So, yeah, I'm going to do something about those in some way, shape, or form, I think. Also, mine, I think, has a fingerprint on it or something. But, yeah, I'm going to probably, like, paint those or get some stickers or something. Because, as I saw, the solution for the lights isn't very good, because it just kind of sits in there. There's, like, nowhere for it to actually mount, and there's a big open gap there. Yep, this is the torso piece for Bruticus. Does work. You can see, yeah, also the ratchets are slightly different on each side. I think one person had their ratchet was installed like wrong, and they had to go on and fix that. But yeah, the other thing it's missing, as the Legends version has, this doesn't, was a butterfly joint as well. Apparently, the thing was, because of the difference in plastic, there was a genuine fear of like any sort of hinge right here would be make it too weak and flimsy, and it'll basically just, oh hey cool, it just falls off one day. So they decided to just remove the butterfly joint, which is a little disappointing, but I get that. If it's between the two, butterfly joint or durability, I choose durability. Regardless, yeah, overall the helicopter mode here is pretty alright, but it's also very much a cartoon robot or helicopter mode, for better for worse, which yeah, some people might be put off by that, but yeah. So for some comparisons though, I'm bringing this in. First of all, here's the Legend scale version. This is the tune colors or whatever. Of course, that was the whole thing. Was, yeah, the raw colors were wrong initially, and then they did the whole, like, what was the third release was finding the correct colors for everyone. So yeah. Also, the rotors work the same, but these you can see still kind of droop. These don't really. So that's something at least. But yeah, you see generally though the very similar designs, just to different scales. Although they did adjust the wheels, because this is right here, the wheels right here versus at the back. So there's that. Here it is next to the MMC Impetus, their version of Vortex, which is actually more accurate to the real world helicopter for the most part. Although I don't know why today decided it's not gonna, the nose is not gonna tab together today. I don't know what that's about. It's usually been fine, but today it decided not to. Once that folds away, yeah. So yeah, very different helicopters, because yeah, this is a real world helicopter. This is just generic helicopter, but yeah, so very different approaches there. You can see, and of course, here are the rest of the Magic Square Combaticons so far. There's a heavy gunner. Here's munitioner, and here's Night Tracer. Yep, there's the 4 of them so far, just waiting on blast off, I guess. Okay, so since that's the vehicle mode, I'm going to go ahead and get him transformed into his combined mode, because that's just easier to do it that way. So I'll go ahead and get that done. Yeah, the arm mode, of course, unfortunately there is no hand quite yet. That will come with blast off. What do they call him? I think they just call him shuttle. Yeah, they call him shuttle. Yeah, it's the arm. I believe the handle attachment. The instructions show these folded away still, but I suspect that considering everything, these are still going to be necessary for the combined mode hand. I'm not sure yet. I'm taking a wild guess basically because again the instructions are kind of crap, so I'm assuming these are going to be folded out. I don't know, and particularly these to fill that space out. Yeah, this is the. By the way, this is also the toy mode configuration because the tail fully up and everything. One other thing I want to mention is right here. This is the elbow bend. You might go, where's the elbow bend? It's right here. Now, out of the box, this might be obscenely tight. So, to the point where you're like, a lot of people are like, I feel like I'm gonna break it. Fix that. If you want to loosen it up, this panel right here, it's just tabbed in, although it's tabbed in fairly securely, which is good. If I can get it out, I have to use a sputter. Yeah, this panel tabbed in right here behind it. There's a screw. If this ratchet's too tight, just loosen the screw a little bit. Loosen it until it feels comfortable. And yeah, you'll be able to get that elbow bend no problem. I also noticed that sometimes, unfortunately, this panel seems to just want to pop off anyway when I'm using the elbow joint. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, this is the pretty much the basic toy configuration. I guess the toy configuration, more or less. I'm not sure exactly what they. Like for this, I did this for example with the Legends version just to store these guns away. And unfortunately, also just like the Legends version, this bit has nowhere to go in the combined mode. They're just kind of going to chill out unless I find a spot in the actual somewhere on the combiner. This is just going to have to chill out somewhere near the combiner or in a bag or something. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But yeah, this is the basic. Toy configuration, and the cartoon configuration really isn't too difficult to figure out either. And just gotta get these removed and stuff. But yeah, I'll just do that real quick just to show that off because it's not in the instructions, but it's pretty obvious what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I'm guessing the cartoon version I'm suspecting is supposed to look a lot like that. I'm guessing it's a little difficult. Again, there's no instructions for it, but I'm guessing the instructions will be with like the final tune parts. But definitely, you can see the tabs and slots line up in such a way. This is more or less roughly where they're supposed to be. And once again, the head is just kind of exposed. I'm not sure what they want you to do with the head exactly. I'm just kind of doing that. I guess you can have it like this, and those kind of covered up a little bit better because this has to come. This panel does have to come up because that's where the it slots in over the torso piece is right here. But yeah, I'm guessing that's pretty much pretty close to the what intended for the cartoon version. We'll see down the line, I guess. Yeah, I'm just gonna get this back to the toy configuration real quick for comparison stuff. So yeah, quick comparison, I guess. I'm just doing this because I forgot. Yep, I'm doing the old comparisons in ARM mode 2. Yeah, here's the Legends class version. Where I say, yeah, this is why I assume I'm assuming that this is going to be involved with the hand. I haven't seen what the hand's going to look like in the final bit, but yeah, give me an idea of that. There, and of course here it is with the MMC version of Vortex right here, which actually has a hand because it's built in. Give me an idea of that. So yeah, it's the ARM mode, pretty straightforward in a sense, but yeah, definitely a couple things I'm noticing might be a problem on the combined mode, final combined mode, but I'll bring that up in the actual combined mode because I'm not sure yet. I don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, that's going to be bad, and it turns out there's something for it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing, get him into robot mode, and we'll then continue this forward. Yeah, the robot mode here, yes, it is. Well, it is a very, very cartoon accurate representation of a Vortex in robot mode. Getting in close a little bit. You can see he's got his got red visor, he's got his gray faceplate, he's got a bit of red on the back of his head, right there. Of course, it's pretty much just gray, pretty much mostly gray. You got some black here, some blue striping there, some blue on the waist, some blue thighs, black down the shins and everything, the black toes. Yep, he's got a bit of helicopter on the side right there. He also has the thing which the cartoon did, which is kind of the shins kind of jut out, like do this little slope thing right there. Yep, there's even panels just to make the backs black, just like the cartoon and everything. He's got his rotor backpack, like that. You can do that how you want, but yep, pretty much what you expect from a cartoon accurate Vortex. A couple things I do want to mention about the transformation is, overall transformation stuff is actually, once you figure out the proper order of things, it's actually not too bad. The big thing is proper order. One of the big things right there is also make sure when you're going to fold the fists away, make sure to have them, fully folded and tabbed into the shoulders like this. Like that before you pull these panels out, because multiple people have basically snapped the panels because they snapped the panels because they just decided to pull them down before it was folded up, and then you can see right there that's the problem. Is if you do that, you can basically snap it right there and then the panel comes off. The other thing is some people have reported these panels are the forearm panels right here for pulling out the fist is very snug. If that's the case, that screw right here, this screw will, if you loosen that a bit, it will make it a little easier. And there you go. That's a big thing to watch out for that. The other weird thing, apparently, when getting QC stuff, is also the pins on the fingers. Apparently, several people had the pins just straight up fall out of the fingers, and then the finger comes off, and that's a problem. If that happens, well, one, I hope it happens where you can find the pin again, because those are very tiny pins. If it does and you can't find the pin, apparently some people have noted that larger paper clips, the larger ones, basically you can shove that in there and cut the end off, and basically bam, you have a new pin in there. So just be mindful of that. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. Some people have reported that, and so that's something to be mindful of. If but yeah, so other than that, just people more or less just some parts being too tight, which loosen some screws will help, and the pins, and that's pretty much and pretty much the extent of problems. Well, that, and it's just people doing this in the wrong order. The forearm, the hand, folding the hand away in the wrong order, and that causes problems. To make sure to do that in the right order. But as for articulation stuff, he's actually pretty good on articulation. Head got left and right, you got up and down right here as a separate joint, so no waggle, unfortunately. Shoulders do a full 360. You got outward right there, like that. You do have a bicep rotation right there. Of course, the double jointed elbow right there. Here at the hands, you do have, of course, wrist swivel. There's a hinge right there, and each finger in the thumbs got a ball joint right there. You got a hinge right here as well, and each finger has basically multiple hinges, just two per, one of the base, one of the knuckle, and of course they also got splays, you can see. So we've got quite a bit of posability right there. I believe these are actually ball joints in the base, so quite a bit of articulation there. Thumbs up. And of course down here at the waist you have a ratcheted waist swivel right there, which is nice. There is quite the ab crunch right there. See that? As for the hips, of course, you got to get, well, there's no hips because you got out of the way, so you got to get that, and that's the kind of the weird thing Magic Square's been doing. But yeah, gives you a lot of forward range, but also makes the hips look a little weird sometimes, unfortunately. So you got that. But there you do have, of course, back that far, outward that far, again on a ratchet, more than full splits. Of course, you have a thigh swivel. There's also a separate hinge right here. That's a weird thing. Yeah, it's a separate hip hinge right there, and it's just kind of, it's a weird thing to deal with. But yeah, right here at the knee, you do have double jointed knee. Although because of how that does stuff, it basically you get that much range. Right there. Get in there. And then here at the feet, you do have, of course, ankle tilts right there. You do have a little bit of back, not really anything forward. The toe can kind of rotate separately if you need that for any reason. So, yeah, pretty darn good posability overall. What was the other thing I was thinking of regarding that posability? Yeah, the hips are just kind of weird. I wish, that's one of the things. I also wish these kind of had a place to something actually tabbed into, because they, well, they sometimes when messing with the shoulders, it's just easy to accidentally pop this, pop something loose, or like messing with it all, just these pop loose. So I wish there was something to leave it at that. As for accessories, of course, it comes with the same, same guns as before. So, these just can tab into the back side of the forearm, and then tab into the side right there to become his forearm guns. Again, just tabbing right there, and of course the two halves of the rifle here can come together, make sure that comes together properly. And then of course unfold the handle right there, and you can hold it. Both hands have tabs and slots, or have slots in the hands for the tabs on the gun handle. And it's fairly secure, not super secure, at least on my mind, but it's secure, decently secure. Although you kind of have to have that. I'll have to have that one finger kind of lifted off just so you can hold it properly. But yeah, generally, works really well. Well, of course, you can still do this. Of course, it's still going to wobble. But yeah, overall, yeah, pretty solid robot overall. Just, yeah, there's a couple of things you can watch out. Mainly the biggest thing seems to be the pins falling off fingers. Multiple people reported that. And of course, be mindful of the hinges on the forearm panels, and just don't try to fold the hands until you have this fully folded up. And also, if it's real stiff, just unscrew that screw. So, yep, that's that. So some comparisons. Again, here he is with the Legends version of him. Again, this is Toy Colors, which is the one I have. It's weird. There's a couple things I feel like the Masterpiece version kind of improved on when it comes to the transformation, but I feel like there's a couple small things that the Legends version did better than the Masterpiece version when it comes to the actual transformation. Namely, I feel like there's some stuff in here like this stuff right here. This feels like it's more solid than it is on this, and so on and stuff. A couple little things like that. But you can see, like, yeah, the inside of this has a hole. This has that's covered up, and so on and so forth. So they did make quite a few improvements. But there's just a couple things here and there. We're just like, don't like what they changed there. Here he is with the MMC version of Vortex. Just to give an idea there. He's a bit shorter, and also not quite as cartoon accurate, just because of no more concerned with a realistic helicopter. And all in one thing. So there's that. Here he is next to the MP Starscream, the version 3.0 or 2.0, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, 2.0. Yeah, it was 2.0 officially. But yeah, there's the MP Starscream. Give you an idea there. Here's the Deformation Space Thundercracker, just to give you an idea, because if you have that version, it's a bit taller. There you go on that. Here's next to MP Megatron. That. And of course, here he is with the rest of the Magic Square Masterpiece Compatagons so far. Yep, there's the Compatagons so far, including Night Tracer, the Dust Magnet. There they are so far. We're just waiting on Blast Off whenever he shows up. What they said, they were saying that by the end of the summer. Now, well, it's already mid-August, and still no Blast Off, so don't know what's going on there, but we're still waiting. Hopefully before the end of the year. Yep, so that is Magic Square's Tornado. Overall, a fairly solid figure. It does apparently did come out of the box with a couple people having QC issues, but it doesn't seem to be super widespread. But it did seem to be widespread enough that were more than multiple people with the same problem. I thankfully didn't run into the problem with the pins. A couple of people, just because the instructions are bad, kind of transform things in bad order and wound up breaking it. A couple of really overly tight in parts, because apparently it seems to be a problem with Magic Square in general. So they're just over tightening screws for their MP versions. And you might have to have a screwdriver ready to loosen things up, but That's not too horrible. That's fairly easy to fix. Transformation overall, it's not too bad most part. Again, there's a couple spots I feel like, particularly in like the backpack and the torso, kind of gets a little caught up on one another stuff, so it's a little more difficult than it should be. But overall, it's fairly solid. I think it's the helicopter is fairly generic it's just a generic helicopter, but it works. The arm mode so far as it stands looks like it comes together pretty solid, and will be a solid arm in either tune or toy configuration. And the robot mode looks really good and looks pretty cartoon accurate overall. I can't really complain about it. It looks really good. They took a lot of what did on the Legends version and to kind of mostly improved on it, with a couple things I would feel like the Legends version did a little bit better, but that might be just because the size differences might be the root on that. So yeah, it's a good toy, and it's it's a little bit more on the spendy side, because it comes with the torso piece, which that's kind of important because of how Magic Square is doing the combiner mode. Again, I'll try and talk more about that in the combined mode video itself. Blast Off will probably be similar to the price because that will be coming with the I guess the pants and the hands, so it might actually be a little more expensive. Because this one he was about what, 160 or so, I want to say, somewhere in that range. Or actually might have been closer to 130. I think it was actually 130, something like that. I don't remember now. But yeah, it was definitely in that general area, at least from Show Z. So just you might want to be mindful of that if you're trying to finish this team. Bit on the spendier side because of the extra stuff for the combiner. So there you go. He's a good toy. He's a good toy overall. Just a couple people have definitely run into issues with him that hopefully you don't if you buy this guy. My other big complaint would basically be they didn't fix the thing. In fact, they made this worse with the gun, regarding the gun and storage. The back of the gun just kind of, you can shove it in where it was on the Legends version, but it doesn't tab into anything. And the gun barrel has nowhere to go when you have it in combined mode, so that kind of sucks. Still, they should have done something better in that regard. Regardless, it's still fairly good figure. So that's it for this review. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media down in the description and at the end of the video. Check out my Coffee, my Patreon. I shall see you next time with another video review.